Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman. Today, we have got to review, Lord, this Karmelo Anthony case, you guys. As of now, you probably have already heard a guilty verdict has been rendered, and Karmelo Anthony has been sentenced to 35 years in prison. Now, we don't exactly know what that's going to look like as of the moment of this recording. That could possibly change in a little bit. But what I want to do is talk about another aspect of this case that has been incredibly troubling. And I'm going to say some pretty inflammatory things in this video. But what's new? Like, that's what you can expect over here on Unshakable with April Chapman. I want to talk about Dominique Alexander. He is the civil rights advocate. He's not a part of the legal defense team for Karmelo Anthony, but somehow he has inserted himself into this predicament. And what troubles me is the family of Karmelo Anthony will not disavow this man. And that tells me a lot about the character of this family. Today, I'm going to react to a video. It's actually a news clip of Dominique Alexander, the advocate for the Anthony family. And y'all, we're going to watch this man outright lie like a rug and not even be good at it. And to me, it points to a deeper issue that is troubling me, that is coming from a particular segment of the Black community. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Listen. Y'all Negroes are just dishonest. That's just a fact. Y'all are not honest. I will never forget the first time I heard a friend of mine, shout out to you, Crystal over there, red pill brown girl. She was like, she was like, y'all ain't honest. She was like, y'all are so dishonest. And she was making that statement. It was a broad sweeping statement. Obviously, she's not talking about all Black people, but when she said y'all are dishonest, this is the type of Black person she was referring to. So let's take a look at this clip.
Texas jury found 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony guilty of murdering 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in April of 2025 during a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. He was just sentenced to 35 years in prison. And to lay this all out for you, due to the rain, there was bad weather. The track events were delayed that day, and Anthony, a Centennial High School student, sought shelter under a Memorial High School tent. Moments later, an argument broke out, and Anthony was asked repeatedly to leave that tent. One witness claimed Anthony responded by calling the group a name before he reached into his backpack saying, quote, "Touch me and see what happens," end quote. After some shoving, Anthony pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed Metcalf in the chest, piercing his heart. Prosecutors argued that the killing was a provoked and unjustified murder. They called 21 witnesses. The defense argued it was self-defense. Karmelo Anthony did not testify in his own defense. Immediately after the jury's decision, protesters gathered outside claiming this was the latest example of Black lives not mattering.
But what this process did is shown that Black lives do not matter in Collin County. This trial showed that it put emotions over the law. After Trayvon Martin and so many countless names, it has shown us that Black life is not safe in Collin County.
Now, here's the part that I wanted to highlight for you guys, and I want you to pay attention to. I hate to say this, but when I say this Black man is a textbook definition of projection, gaslighting, and refusing to be held accountable, like accountability is nowhere in his purview. He mentioned that basically because of the verdict that was rendered in this Karmelo Anthony case, that Black lives don't matter in Collin County. Now, keep in mind that no Black life was lost in this incident. Austin Metcalf is a white young man, and he is the one that succumbed to his injuries sustained at the hand of Karmelo Anthony. But his first point of contention is that Black life doesn't matter here. And the reason why he's saying that, it's because he equates Black lives not mattering in Collin County because the outcome of this jury trial was not the outcome that he wanted. These people are dishonest. They were not interested in the facts. They were not interested in the evidence. It did not matter what was determined to be true. They will deny observable reality and imply, see, Black lives don't matter because one of our own actually has to take accountability for what he has done based on choices that he has made. I'm so upset because this man is trying to conflate what happened with Karmelo Anthony with so many other race hoax type cases, bringing up Trayvon Martin, which based on the evidence, it was obvious Trayvon wasn't innocent and he was the aggressor. The same situation in this case. I've not talked a whole lot about the details, but I'm sorry. This is what you wanted. You asked for this. So now you got to get April bringing the smoke. I was real calm and collected and tempered and measured in my video yesterday because I said we don't need to be adding fuel to the fire. The verdict is in. He is guilty. This was not about race. But you know what? At the end of the day, these people don't care about truth. And people who do not care about truth dwell in darkness, meaning you are of your father, the devil. Why? Because he's a liar and he was a liar from the beginning. And so therefore, when you are presented with facts and evidence and truth, and you deny it or you push back against it and you don't submit yourself up under that truth, I have no other choice than by biblical imperative than to call you evil. You love the darkness rather than the light because your deeds are evil. And so, yes, I am directing this commentary toward Dominique Alexander and any other Black person that listens to what he is about to say and you align yourself with him. You are a liar. You are of the father of lies. That is what your nature is. And even if you are white and you want to stand in solidarity with Dominique Alexander and this narrative that he is pushing, you too are evil. See, this wickedness that I'm talking about, this isn't flesh and blood. Okay, there are principalities and rulers that are ruling in dark places, spiritual forces that are at work. These people represent the sons of disobedience, and you don't have to be Black for that to be true of you. You can be a white liberal, a white sympathizer. You can be Asian, you can be Hispanic. But if you sit and you listen to what this man is saying, and you co-sign to the conclusion he arrives to that Black lives don't matter in Collin County, then you're just like him. Let us continue.
Minister Dominique Alexander is the man that you just heard from in that video. He is a spokesman for the Anthony family. Minister, it's nice to have you on. You keep saying that Black lives don't matter, but no Black lives were lost here. A 17-year-old white person was killed. So what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is 35 years. Karmelo Anthony.
35 years of what? You see how they always want to bring other elements into this? Racial grievance is all these people have, and they milk it for financial gain. They use it as a political tool in order to manipulate you, to control you. 35 years of what? Karmelo Anthony wasn't even alive 35 years. He's 19, if my math serves me correctly. So 35 years of what? Of the Black community doubling down in wickedness, the Black community not being held accountable for the actions that they inflict upon their own selves and the terror that they inflict upon their own communities. 35 years of that? Are we talking about the 35 years of yes, the prison pipeline being stocked to the rim with lawbreakers? What are we talking about here, Dominique Alexander? I'm talking about 35 years. He's just making it up. He is grasping at straws. He has no argument. And when they have no argument, this is their default setting. Racial grievance. Let's talk about how we've been oppressed and we can't get a fair shake because the white man's knee is always on our neck. And no matter what we do, nothing is our fault. What have I been telling y'all? The perpetual victim can never be trusted. This man cannot be trusted. And more importantly than that, I wanted to highlight something that Finnerty acknowledged. He said, this man is the representative for the family. Here's my question to the Karmelo Anthony family. Why are you still associated with this man unless your views align with his views? And if your views align with his views, that tells me everything I need to know. These people are not good people. These people have been pulling a con and trying to hustle the residents of Collin County in order to elicit a level of sympathy. They wanted Black sympathy, but they didn't want justice. They were not interested in justice for Austin Metcalf because all they cared about was themselves. So by hook or by crook, lie, scheme, manipulate, gaslight, misrepresent, just make it up out of thin air. These people didn't care. He is their family representative and he is the official spokesperson for this family because this is who this family is. Because there's no way after what has come out about Alexander, there's no way after what we know to be true about him and how he has lied and misrepresented and how he's about to lie further. If I was the family, I would have cut ties with him a long time ago. But the reason why they haven't cut ties with him, because this is their people. They are of their father, the devil. And it's sad that a 17-year-old, well, now 19-year-old, is now going to spend upwards to 30 years of his life in prison, all because his family failed him. No, that's my argument. His family and all those within the Black community who think and parrot this same evil and wickedness and ethnic partiality and division, they failed Karmelo Anthony. My prayer is that Karmelo will spend time in jail and he will ruminate and think about this entire case. He'll think about what he has done and he'll think about all of the adults who used him improperly, unlawfully, used him to push their agenda. That's what I'm hoping happens. And that he wakes up and realizes that the people who were supposed to love me and train me in righteousness is how I found myself unable to restrain myself, control myself, and walk away from what I perceived as an altercation. Because they've been telling me my whole life, nothing's my fault. I'm a victim. And they've taught him to be prideful that if somebody says something you don't like, or somebody steps to you and asks or makes a request of you that you don't want to do, you have the right to retaliate with force, deadly force at that.
The chronic victim can never be trusted, says Carl Young.
Because I want you to know that I am more offended as an African-American woman than you will ever be.
The chronic victim can never be trusted.
The reason we could never be who we wanted and dreamed to be in is you kept your knee on our neck. We could run corporations and not hustle in the street, but you had your knee on our neck. We had creative skills. We could do whatever anybody else could do, but we couldn't get your knee off our neck.
The chronic victim can never be trusted.
It's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
Stay on your knees. Stay on the plantation, boy. I've decided to be a free man. Slavery is a choice.
let me calm down. Let me calm down.
Yet at the end of the day, Black America repeatedly is told that self-defense is a part of the law. That a knife under 5 inches is legal in the state of Texas. That stand your ground is legal here in the state of Texas.
Notice how this man is conflating categories. Self-defense is legal in Texas. Stand your ground is legal in Texas. Having a knife that fits the dimensions of Karmelo Anthony's knife is legal in Texas. But notice how he's trying to paint this picture for you that we did everything right. We were told we can defend ourselves and stand our ground and we can have a knife. But the part that he leaves out is the lawful part. You can lawfully stand your ground when your life is threatened. You can absolutely defend yourself and use force if necessary when you have been approached with equal force. Me shoving you is not the equivalent, or it doesn't elicit the equivalent response. It's not the equivalent response, I should say. A stab in the heart is not the equivalent response to a push or a shove. It is not. So when Dominique Alexander goes on this speech about we've been told for 35 years Black lives don't matter because we got all these laws in Texas and somehow the law just never worked for us the same. This is just as bad as that big back bison Brittany Cooper talking about, the diet don't even work the same for us. Like Black women could be on the same diet as white women. And it take us longer to lose the weight. And the diet don't work the same for us. So this is the narrative that he is pushing and that he wants you to believe applies in this situation. And he wants you to don't look at the facts. Do not look at the circumstance here. Don't make the proper category distinction and appropriately apply the law to say, well, those things are true. However, your bootleg defense team, because I don't know why your defense team was so horrible, failed to prove that Karmelo's answer of self-defense, this is the defense they submitted to the court. They failed to prove it. You would have had to prove that he was in reasonable fear for his life and that Austin Metcalf was literally pounding him to death within an inch of his life to where stabbing him in the chest was the only way he could get that boy up off of him. Well, it's kind of hard to argue that when none of that ever happened. This boy was repeatedly asked, bruh, you can't be here. I know the civil rights movement told you that you should be entitled to be wherever you want, even though you're not welcome. And people are literally telling you, hey, you can't sit here. This is the whole civil rights movement. I just want to be somewhere I'm not wanted, like a sick stalker. I don't know about you. I don't want to be anywhere where I'm not wanted, and I don't want to be anywhere where I am made to feel small. So in the context of this track meet, yes, you were seeking shelter from the rain, but there are rules to this. You know, all the rules and the order and the admonitions that so many of our Black youth think don't apply to them. I do what I want. I go where I want. Don't nobody tell me what to do. You're just like your mamas. No daddy in the home to put his foot up your behind to tell you, I don't know what you heard, but nobody gets to do whatever it is that they want to do whenever they want to do it. You respect authority and you have to submit yourself up under it no matter what station of life you are in. And when you are in a collegiate or an athletic environment, and there is a tent designated for your school, it is not our fault that your high school didn't invest and put up a tent that day knowing it was going to rain. So when you were asked, hey, you can't be here, and somebody got to tell you 15 times to go, your life ain't threatened. Your life, you ain't felt threatened at all. You were trying to assert dominance and Debo your way over there and say, oh, touch me and see what happened. That's what this was. This was a young man who been feeling himself and knew, I got a knife. I got the upper hand in this. There's a power dynamic here, all right? Yeah, white boy is big. Because I was like, dang, he was 6'1", like 220. I'm like, shorty had body. Okay, that's a big guy. So from my perspective, if I'm Karmelo Anthony, I'm talking tough. They're asking me to leave. I'm refusing to leave. And then I'm issuing threats talking about touch me, see what happened. That means I'm not going. I am going to treat this situation like I'm some crazy deranged stalker. And I don't fear for my life, because if I felt for my life, I would just get up and go. But instead, I'm going to assert my dominance, because don't nobody tell me what to do. And I got something for you, white boy. You gonna tell me I gotta go? Who you think you are? One tap, which does not warrant a stab in the heart, but that is what Karmelo Anthony returned. That was the due penalty for Austin Metcalf's error. So this two-bit hustler right here, this lying, wannabe social justice warrior activist, this Baron of Blackness over here, is trying to paint the whole victim narrative again, to try to paint all black people that we are just victims and that we can't get a break in this country because black lives don't matter. You about to listen to this Negro blame the rain. He's going to blame everything else other than Karmelo Anthony unlawfully stabbing somebody that did not pose a deathly or imminent threat to him. That's the part that's so messed up about this.
But when a black person try to use those same basic rights and laws, then we're not afforded those things. We're doing those things unjustifiably.
Well,
You were. He was. It wasn't justified. The defense called a witness that even had to admit, no, Shorty's life wasn't threatened. Like, that's just not what happened. But you know what? I'm getting so upset. These people don't care about the truth. Truth has never been the goal, and justice has never been the objective. Racial grievance, stoking hatred, keeping division going, all of these are works of the flesh, and they come from Satan. I'm going to say something that's really, really inflammatory, but I really don't care. Stay away from people like this. Keep them away from your children. Stay away from them. My children already know. We don't judge by appearances, but what we do, we notice pattern recognition. I tell my boys, you see a group of kids who look unkempt, i.e., they didn't comb their hair, they are slovenly dressed, clothes wrinkled, pants sagging, wearing sneakers with the laces untied, and they look like they up to no good, it's probably because they are. And I don't care if you're a white boy dressed like that or a black boy dressed like that. I have taught my children recognize the signs and the patterns. People who have dignity and respect for themselves and respect for their community and the people around them and want to present the best version of themselves don't leave the house looking like that. It means they have low standards for themselves and they have a poor view of themselves and they're not willing to elevate themselves any higher than they already are. Stay away from them, because those are the same types of people that will parrot this kind of narrative when they're put in a similar situation, because they're unrighteous, they're evil, and they're wicked, and they dwell in the darkness. That's what I tell my boys. You wouldn't have had to tell my boys twice to leave that tent. If they know they're not supposed to be there and they get it wasn't unreasonable, a lawful command, hey, based on the rules of how the track and field department has set it up, if you don't go to this school, you can't be here. You need to go. The last thing my boys are trying to do is use this as an opportunity to flex and show themselves. Why? Because we teach them it is not about being right. It is about doing what is right. And you don't instigate an argument just because somebody asks you to leave. And furthermore, why you want to be somewhere where you're not wanted? What is wrong with you? What are you, a stalker? You ain't had nowhere else you could go. You just had to be there. Huh?
Well, that's not what a jury found today. Can you tell me, I know you know Karmelo Anthony well, why did he bring a knife to a track meet?
I can't comment on that. What I can do, I can't speak for Karmelo Anthony, but I can tell you that the state of Texas made it legal. So at the end of the day, if a person got a problem with it, they might need to call Governor Greg Abbott and tell him, why does this state have open carry laws? Why does it have brass knuckles and etc. Right?
Stabbing somebody in the heart, though, sir, is definitely not legal. He could have just turned around and walked out of that tent at any moment.
And based on what you have been told about the situation, I can see how you can take that fact. But the levels of injustice that was done in this trial is not how I was told, right? But at the
How are you an advocate for the family? And you're claiming that the evidence that came out in the trial, what the prosecution presented and what the defense presented, you claim there's been an injustice because that ain't what you've been told. Well, sir, if what you've been told contradicts the court record and the testimony of the witnesses on both sides, somebody lying. So is it your argument, Dominique Alexander, that Karmelo Anthony had a poor defense team? Because why didn't they present the evidence that you're talking about here? This is why I don't trust this family. Because why would you retain legal counsel whose job is to defend you, and then yet you have this political operative here who is your advocate in the media and speaks on your behalf, and he parrots something completely different than what the defense team argued in court? Because at the end of the day, all that matters is the court testimony, the court records, those transcripts, that has been entered into the record. Why is it that what Dominique Alexander is attempting to peddle here in the media, according to him, that ain't what I heard and what I've been told? So tell us what you heard, Dominique. Is it what you heard or what you're lying about? What you're trying to misrepresent to make the public believe these people are not honest? I'm telling you, the perpetual victim, the chronic victim can never be trusted. Listen, I don't want this video to go too long. I'm hot as fish grease and I need to calm down because it ain't my cortisol. I don't need my cortisol up. But here's what I will tell you. Do not try to sell to the public. This message is to the family of Karmelo Anthony. You people have discredited yourselves by having Dominique Alexander be your advocate and your spokesperson out in the media. He has been discredited. The words he has spoken here on Newsmax can easily be discredited. But if you guys were interested in justice, getting justice for Karmelo, and having justice rendered for Austin Metcalf, you would have ditched this joke a long time ago. He wouldn't even be allowed. You put a gag order on him, a restraining order. He would be just not permitted to say a word on behalf of the Karmelo Anthony family unless you have him being public opposition on purpose. You want his lies to be circling out in the media. You want to stoke the flames of racial tension and division out in the media to play on the sympathy and the stupidity of the blacks who dwell in the darkness and hate the light because their deeds are evil. That is the only justification you put this fake pulpit pimp minister out on the forefront to represent you. I was calm yesterday because I just wanted to focus on the fact that the Karmelo Anthony family lost a son too in a different capacity, but it's still a loss nonetheless. At this point, I ain't got no sympathy for these people. It is just sad that Karmelo Anthony, who was the child at the time of this incident, had to be raised and shepherded and discipled by people who are so evil and so wicked that it's going to be harder for him to understand and compartmentalize the fact that these are the people that were leading him down the path of destruction. Because these people are not honest. So I'm curious to know, what is it that you guys think? I apologize if I was just a little team too much in this video, but these blacks, these kinds of blacks, not my people. My people are the ones who do the will of my Father. And I don't care what color you are. We are on the side of truth and righteousness. But these blacks, these people are not honest. When I say stay away from these people, stay outside of preaching the gospel to them loud and often. Keep these people away from your kids. Stay away from them. They dwell in the darkness. They do not love the light because their deeds are evil. But leave me a comment down in the box below. And until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and